I wanted to pick up the Jaguar conversation because
Hmm.
I said earlier that, and I'm interested to get your point of view here, and I'm interested to try and get the fans' point of view, um, as well a bit later on. Um, did they throw it away? Because we saw last season that it was mismanaged by Envision with the Buemi and the Cassidy situation, and in this season, I think again it's mismanaged. Right? They were
Hmm.
focusing on they got the 1-2, then they thought about being clever and trying to do the attack mode and getting it through that way. Do you think that
Yeah,
was just the wrong way to go about it?
yeah. I mean, I wrote in my report the word capitulation came up. I think that's probably the best way to describe it. It seems that for whatever reason that's what they decided, and both Mitch and Nick feel that they were hard done by the team's decision making. And I'm inclined to agree. Uh, Nick took his attack modes very, very early. Um, and then it seemed as if they completely froze after that, which then left Nick in the clutches of everybody else. Because the fact that Mitch and Pascal didn't want to take their attack modes and left it incredibly late to do so, it slowed the pace of the whole race up completely, which left Nick completely vulnerable to everybody else. Hence why he lost out to Ollie, and then fell into the clutches of Max and Antonio, and that is how he ended up retiring from the race and losing the championship. And he hasn't got, he has not got himself to blame for that. Um, and Mitch, I mean, yes, he missed two attack modes, which obviously he'd only got himself to blame for that. But I think ultimately, yeah, the team completely botched the whole scenario, and Porsche just calmly navigated their way through it.
Do you think it's easier because even though last season there was only one person, like one dog in the fight with Cassidy, I assume it is harder to get two dogs in a fight and manage it. So Pico was saying earlier that they should have separated the teams off and been two individual teams. And James Barkley just basically says, bring home the team's title, make sure you do that, but we'll let you have your own strategies and do what you want. Do you think that could have been a way that they could have handled the situation?
Potentially, I mean, it's always going to be a double-edged sword when you've got two really great drivers in a really great team, because it effectively feels like you've got two number ones. And in a racing team, that can cause problems. If you look at Formula One, you've got Prost and Senna, Mansell, PK, etc., etc. When you've got two number ones and they're both battling, but the team also want to bring the teams or constructors championship home, it's always very difficult. Um, but I get your point. I think they could have put a bit more trust in them. Um, they know each other. They're good friends. They grew up together, and I think in a way you kind of feel that they would have raced hard but fair, if they had been to some extent been allowed to race each other. So yeah, I get your point on that.
Yeah, just so people are aware, if you click exclamation mark Discord now and try again, yeah, hopefully it should work. Um, yeah, it's just interesting. I know it's completely difficult, and once we get a chance to maybe speak to James Barkley, we'll kind of have a bit more of an understanding of what went on and a bit more once they've reflected because it's hard winning a championship, and I suppose you could argue Cassidy made it so much harder for himself. If he did not spin in Portland, it wouldn't have mattered, right? He probably would have come home as champion, even from enough points from Saturday's race. So I honestly think that maybe he might, even though you can't think, oh, Portland, I lost the championship there, because he didn't lose the championship there, but he lost a big grasp of that championship there.
Oh God, yeah, and it occurred to me yesterday whilst the race was just coming to an end, that you can draw a lot of comparisons between this year's championship and the '07 F1 championship when it was a rookie Lewis Hamilton and Alonso battling, And then Lewis kind of threw it away in Shanghai with 2 races to go, and Raikkonen came in and picked up the pieces and won a championship himself. Portland was Cassidy's Hamilton moment in that respect. To spin off on the penultimate lap, if he'd won that race, the championship was effectively done. It wasn't mathematically done, but he had such a buffer that the security that would have brought him was there. Um, Obviously, it's great for the neutrals to see such a thrilling showdown yesterday. But yeah, you're absolutely right. The sort of the momentum and the pendulum sort of swung away from Nick in that moment, and I think he knows that. Um, but I think he also knows that he has putting the whole thing together has had a great season. And as he said on his Instagram post today, there are some things that are just out of your control in life
Yeah.
sometimes. And I think that's the way he feels about it. And I
Yeah.
think that Mitch, as well, he said to me yesterday, am I ever going to win it? I've been close so many times. I just don't know if I'm ever going to be the world champion. They're both hurting a lot.
Yeah. They are.
Um, you know, yeah.
Yeah. 100%. I have to agree with you. They are both hurting.